Good evening. I'd like to call to order the meeting for Bedford Township for June 1st, 2021. Mr. Gore, could you lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much, Mr. Goldsmith. If you would like to lead us in prayer.
Yes, I will. Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Father in heaven, we thank you for this evening. Thank you for the wonderful day that you have provided us. I pray for guidance for the Township Board tonight, wisdom and discernment as they approach the business of the Township. Please be with each and every one of them and provide and guide their actions accordingly. Also want to remember our first responders. We oftentimes forget the sacrifice they make, and of course our service people that are serving both here and abroad. We thank you for them, and please protect and guide them in everything that they have to do to protect us and keep us safe.
Amen. Thank you very much. Amen. Okay. A, approval of the 2021-2022 general fund budget. I look for a motion to open the public hearing.
We'll make a motion to open the public hearing.
Second.
Okay, motion by Mr. Steiner, seconded by Ms. Janizek. Discussion? Seeing none, call the roll, please.
Mr. Steiner?
Aye.
Ms. Janizek?
Aye.
Mr. Gore?
Aye.
Mr. Bruning?
Aye.
Mr. Montroy?
Aye.
Hirschberger votes aye. Mr. Peroni?
Aye, the motion passed 7-0. Okay. Anybody from the public wish to speak on A? Okay, motion to close the public hearing.
Make a motion to close the public hearing.
Okay.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Steiner, seconded by Ms. Janizek. Discussion? Seeing none, could you call the roll, please?
Mr. Steiner?
Aye.
Ms. Janizek?
Aye.
Mr. Montroy?
Aye.
Mr. Bruning?
Aye.
Mr. Gore?
Aye.
Hirschberger votes aye. Mr. Peroni?
Aye, the motion passed 7-0. Mr. Miller?
Yes.
If you'd like to take the wheel on this, or if the board has any questions or anything else they'd like to discuss before we approve it, we're going to go ahead and let that caller in. Obviously, this isn't an ideal situation, so we're going to let Ms. Keene speak. Go ahead, George, let her in. Good evening. Go ahead and state your name and address and go ahead with your comment.
I apologize that it may not be ideal, but the numbers disappeared off the TV for calling in. So my first name is Gail and the last is Kane, and I live at 1056 West Temperance. Regarding the public hearing, first the budget. After having watched most of all the meetings, I was most concerned with the disparity of the wages for the full-time elected, and I know that that comes under another commission. But secondly, it was my observation that over the last year, if not longer, any of the major issues came from the departments which fall under the oversight umbrella of the supervisor's office. I would hope that the board would take immediate action at this point and review and, if possible, consider moving some of these departments under a more appropriate oversight. For example, the fire department has been moved to the oversight of the entire board. I think the maintenance department should now be moved to under the clerk's given that the office holds the state statutory standing as sextant. Hopefully, moving these departments will allow for a better fiduciary oversight and control within these departments. I applaud for the money savings, and I hope that we continue to monitor our funds so we can replace those that we've exhausted, and will hopefully spend in a responsible manner the funds that we will be getting from the COVID relief. Again, job well done. Thank you. And I apologize again for being tardy in my call-in. Good night.
No problem. Have a great night. Thank you for your comments. Okay, any more comments, George? Okay, all right. Anybody have any questions for Mr. Miller or any suggestions? If not, we look for a motion for approval. I would just like to say that we did meet multiple times, had very good discussions with committee members and board members, and I feel like we have a great budget, and it's should be a great year. So other than that, look for a motion. Mr. Steiner?
Mr. Supervisor, I'll make the motion, and I reiterate the fantastic job that Mr. Miller has done to get us to this point. Cleaned up the budget process a lot this year, and I look forward to it going forward. With everything that's presented this evening, I am recommending my motion to say we approve the 2021-2022 General Fund Appropriations Resolution budget as presented.
Support. Okay, motion and supported by Mr. Bruning. Any more discussion? Okay, seeing none, could you call the roll, please?
Mr. Steiner,
Aye.
Mr. Bruning,
Aye.
Mr. Montry,
Aye.
Mr. Gore,
Aye.
Ms. Janusik,
Aye.
Hirschberger votes aye. Mr. Peroni.
Aye, the motion passed 7-0. B, approval of the 2021-2022 special funds budget. I look for a motion to open the public hearing.
Motion to open the public hearing.
Support. Okay, motion and supported by Mr. Bruning. Any discussion? Mr. Steiner, your hand's still up, just so you know. Okay, seeing none, could you call the roll, please?
Mr. Steiner,
Aye.
Mr. Bruning,
Aye.
Ms. Janusik,
Aye.
Mr. Montry,
Aye.
Mr. Gore,
Aye.
Hirschberger votes aye. Mr. Peroni.
Aye, the motion passed 7-0. Okay, any comments from the public? Well, what we'll do is we will just go ahead and close the public hearing. And if somebody calls in, we'll let them speak. So I look for a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Support. Motion and supported by Mr. Bruning. Discussion? Okay, seeing none, could you call the roll, please?
Mr. Gore,
Aye.
Mr. Bruning,
Aye.
Ms. Janusik,
Aye.
Mr. Steiner,
Aye.
Mr. Montry,
Aye.
Hirschberger votes aye. Mr. Peroni.
Aye, the motion passed 7-0. Okay, Mr. Miller or any board members have any questions, comments? Okay. And to the board that hadn't watched the process for the budgeting, the reason we don't have too many comments is because we've been meeting for 4 or 5 months on this. So otherwise we would have a lot of discussion. So, okay. I look for a motion.
Mr. Supervisor, I'll make the motion to approve the Special Revenue Funds Appropriations Resolution for 2021-2022 as presented.
Support.
Okay, motion is supported by Ms. Januzek. Discussion? Okay, seeing none, could you call the roll, please?
Mr. Steiner,
Aye.
Ms. Janusik,
Aye.
Mr. Bruning,
Aye.
Mr. Montroy,
Aye.
Mr. Gore,
Aye.
Hirschberger votes aye. Mr. Prony.
Aye, the motion passed 7-0. Okay, number 2, approval of the agenda. Bob, if you're not going to hang on, thanks for, again, for all your hard work. Have a great night.
Thanks, Bob.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Number
Bob.
2, approval of the agenda.
Motion to approve the agenda is submitted.
Support.
Motion and supported by Mr. Gore. Discussion? Seeing none, could you call the roll, please?
Mr. Steiner,
Aye.
Mr. Gore,
Aye.
Mr. Montroy,
Aye.
Mr. Bruning,
Aye.
Ms. Jandisek,
Aye.
Hirschberger votes aye. Mr. Prony.
Aye, the motion passed 7-0. Item number 3, the consent agenda. The agenda committee recommends to A, approve and place on file the minutes of the May 18th, 2021 regular meeting of the Bedford Township Board. I look for a motion.
I'll move to make a motion to approve the agenda, the consent agenda.
Second.
Support.
Okay, motion by Mr. Gore, seconded by Mr. Steiner. Discussion. Okay, seeing none, could you call the roll, please?
Mr. Gore,
Aye.
Mr. Steiner,
Aye.
Mr. Bruning,
Aye.
Ms. Jandisek,
Aye.
Mr. Montroy,
Aye.
Hirschberger votes aye. Mr. Prony.
Aye, the motion passed 7-0. Up next is number 5, public comment. Comments limited to 5 minutes for board agenda items only. We got Ms. Keene here, if you want to let her in. Good evening. Go ahead and state your name and address and go ahead with your comment for board agenda item.
You already told them who I was, 1056 West Temperance. Regarding the agenda tonight, number 1 is the appointment to planning. We cannot and should not ignore the original recommendations made by Kincaid and Jenkins. Look at some of the issues within the township and what happens when we lack a proper oversight. It's imperative that we really pick somebody here who's had some experience. Number 2, the dunks. I don't know how we ever started with the dunks. I know it was in response to the spraying, which people did not like, and it was expensive, and it really doesn't do any good. But the question would be is the amount of money that we're spending when these are available at our local hardware stores, if we should just not let people that need them go buy them. But, it's your choice. And the fireworks, I'm questioning the location change, if it's because of last year and why we've not gone back to that. I know that our monies, that they had ordered fireworks last year, so that they shouldn't be spending any of the monies. But I was looking at the location, and I realized tonight you're only okaying the permit. So that's it, guys. That's all I have. Have a good night. Bye-bye.
Thank you for your comments. Have a great night. Any more comments, George? Okay. All right. Moving on to 7A, Bedford Senior Community Center Appropriation Agreement. Mr. Goldsmith?
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. You have in front of you an appropriation agreement that I prepared and submitted for your review and eventual approval. Pursuant to Public Act 39 of 1976, the township is required to enter into an agreement or a contract with the senior center for the monies that would be appropriated for the benefit of seniors and older persons, as we are referred to in the act, being 60 years of age and older, for the benefit of our Bedford seniors. So I have laid that out for you. It's required by state statute. It includes the amount of the proposed appropriation of $12,500 for this year. And then also, and Trudy is very aware of this also, if a motion is made to authorize entry into this agreement, then we have to publish it in a paper of general circulation within Bedford Township. It's a notification of appropriation to a private organization, but this is all allowed by statute, by public act. And the only thing it requires other than your appropriation is a written agreement, and you have that in front of you.
Okay, any questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, I look for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the Bedford Senior Community Center Appropriation Agreement.
Support. Okay, motion is supported by Mr. Bruning. Discussion? Okay, seeing none, could you call the roll, please?
Mr. Gore,
Aye.
Mr. Bruning,
Aye.
Mr. Montry,
Aye.
Ms. Janusik,
Aye.
Mr. Steiner,
Aye.
Hirschberger votes aye. Mr. Peroni.
Aye, and the motion passed 7-0. Okay, moving on to 7B, appointment to the Planning Commission. I am recommending to the board to appoint John Strick to the Planning Commission, first term ending 12/31/23. He is from the packet that was submitted, and he applied on December 7th. John Strick has been a millwright for 30 years, gone through an apprenticeship. Seems like he knows a lot about construction and would serve the Planning Commission well, so that's my motion.
Support.
Okay, motion is supported by Mr. Montry. Discussion? Okay, seeing none, could you call the roll, please?
Mr. Peroni,
Aye.
Mr. Montry,
Aye.
Ms. Janusik,
No.
Mr. Gore,
No.
Mr. Steiner,
Aye.
Mr. Bruning,
No.
Hirschberger votes no.
Okay, the motion failed 4-3. Okay, moving on to 8A, vouchers for payment. Ms. Hirschberger?
I'd like to make a motion that the following vouchers be approved for payment. General Fund, $37,717.29. Fire District, $16,595.58. Police Fund, $459.83. Park Fund, $8,861.48. Fire Equipment, $5,044.44. Transit System Fund, $13,520. Library Fund, $14,211.99. Downtown Development Authority, $85.90. Sewer O&M Fund, $452,307.34. Trust and Agency Fund, $651.63, for a grand total of $549,455.48.
Support.
Okay, motion is supported by Ms. Januzak. Discussion?
I just wanted to tell you the reason why the O&M is so high is because 450,000 of that is the bi-monthly charge for the sewer O&M plant.
Okay,
So-
very good.
I was questioning that.
Very good. Any more discussion? Okay, could you call the roll, please?
Hirschberger votes aye. Ms. Janusik,
Aye.
Mr. Gore,
Aye.
Mr. Steiner,
Aye.
Mr. Montry,
Aye.
Mr. Bruning,
Aye.
Mr. Peroni.
Aye, the motion passed 7-0. Item 8B, a resolution amending the 2021 special revenue funds. Ms. Hirschberger?
I think Bob wants to present this. He's still on.
Okay. Oh, okay. Mr. Miller.
This is the resolution to increase and decrease four special revenue funds. The first is the park fund. We're clearing up the fund balance appropriated for the revenue, and we're decreasing some of the expenses to help offset the fund balance appropriated. This will leave them a fund balance of $110,000, which is right around the 50% of the total expenditures for the fiscal year. The Fund 327 Springbrook, that was an invoice that posted to a Fund 325 in air, so we're moving that to Fund 327 where it belongs. Fund 329, some straggler invoices came in for road construction, so we're just accounting for that. In Fund 590, the sewer fund, what we're doing here is in last year's budget, or for this year's budget, I'm sorry, the bond interest for sewer number 7, bonds 1 and 2 was not known at that time, the interest. So now we're adding the interest in the budget.
Okay, any comments or questions? Okay, seeing none, I look for a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve the resolution amending the 2021 special revenue funds as presented.
Support.
Okay, motion in support of Ms. Januzak. Discussion? Okay, seeing none, could you call the roll, please?
Hirschberger votes aye. Ms. Janusik?
Aye.
Mr. Montry?
Aye.
Mr. Gore?
Aye.
Mr. Bruning?
Aye.
Mr. Steiner?
Aye.
Mr. Peroni?
Aye, the motion passed 7-0. Okay, item 8C, Michigan Townships Association dues for July 1st, 2021 to June 30th, 2022. So you have your information in front of you. Your annual dues payment for July 1st, 2021 to June 30th, 2022 is $7,042. We typically do not opt into number 2, which is your legal defense contribution. We opt out of that typically. I will say we have utilized quite a bit of the MTA courses. Trudy, I'm not sure about your and Chris's department, but we have utilized quite a bit of it.
Yes.
I would recommend we do the premium pass, or we can do the plus and pick what we want. But for the little extra money, if we have classes that come up that we need or want, they'd be available, under that package. So it's up to the board. But it does get utilized.
We've utilized quite a few of the classes also in the clerk's department.
I think what we've done probably paid for itself.
Definitely.
So, any more comments? Any questions? Okay, I look for a motion. And if you want to leave out number 2, the legal defense fund, just minus out the 211.26, and then add the 1,900 if that's the route the board decides to go. Whoever makes the motion.
I'll make a motion. We
Okay.
ready?
Yep.
All right, I'll make a motion that we pay the annual dues payment for MTA in the amount of $7,042. We opt out of the legal defense fund for $211.26, and then we opt for the premium pass for $1,900.
A second.
Okay, motion is supported by Mr. Steiner. Any discussion?
Just a quick comment, just so everybody knows, the total on that is $8,942.
Okay. Okay, seeing any more discussion? None? Okay, could you call the roll, please?
Mr. Bruning?
Aye.
Mr. Steiner?
Aye.
Mr. Gore?
Aye.
Ms. Janusik?
Aye.
Mr. Montry?
Aye.
Hirschberger votes aye. Mr. Peroni.
Aye, the motion passed 7-0. Item 8D, rezone parcel 5802-028-011-00 from PBO Professional Business Office to R2A Single Family Residential at 8153 Jackman Road. Mr. Steiner?
Yes, this came before the Planning Commission back on May 12th. And just a quick synopsis here. The request was to rezone from PBO Professional Business Office to R2A Single Family Residential. The subject parcel has 264 feet of frontage on Jackman Road and 2 acres with an existing dwelling and accessory structure. The subject parcel was once an R2A Single Family Residential, and on October 3rd, 2017, this parcel was rezoned at the previous owner's request to PBO Professional Business Office to market the sale site for a dental office for the new owners. The applicant originally intended to remodel the existing structure and move the dental office into the subject site. However, they now have since purchased an existing dental office location within Bedford Township and are seeking to rezone the parcel back to R2A, and the intent is to remodel and live in the home. The documentation was reviewed by Bedford Township Planner Manick and Smith, Lucy Fortin. The recommendation from Manick and Smith was to recommend rezoning back to the R2A as it once was for these reasons. The subject property is currently occupied by a residential building. A suburban density residential land use is consistent within the township master plan, and the subject property is located in an area of predominantly residential land uses. If there's no questions, I will make a motion, but I'll let you go for questions first.
Any comments or questions from board members? Okay, seeing none, I look for a motion.
I'll make the motion to rezone property at parcel number 5802-028-011-00 from PBO Professional Business Office to R2A Single Family Residential as presented.
Support.
Support.
Okay, motion in support of Ms. Januzak. Discussion? Okay, seeing none, could you call the roll, please?
Mr. Steiner?
Aye.
Ms. Janusik?
Aye.
Mr. Montroy?
Aye.
Mr. Bruning?
Aye.
Mr. Gore?
Aye.
Hirschberger votes aye. Mr. Peroni.
Aye, the motion passed 7-0. Item 8E, the purchase of mosquito dunks. Ms. Hirschberger?
So like I said in my memo, we did a quick inventory, and we do have enough dunks to get us through this year, this season. After that, we will most likely be completely out. They last about 2 years. This is pretty close to the same price we've been getting them for. I think they raised them maybe $5 a case. So might be like $200 or $300 more than we paid 2 years ago.
Well, what's the board's
3
thoughts?
years ago, actually.
Does the board want to continue doing this service? Is this something that we want to continue to spend the money on? I mean, they do sell them all over the community in the hardware stores. It is something, the residents do use them. I do know there's certain subdivisions, especially in the older subdivisions, where you have these retention ponds where they utilize a lot of dunks, and we only give out 4 per person. So a lot of times you'll have one person coming in to represent the whole neighborhood and want a whole box of dunks. Well, that's not something that we've typically allowed. So we could probably get the thoughts on the board for that as well, how we want to handle the handing out of them. If we want to continue just giving them 4 per person, I know I have to sign for them, and they take their ID to make sure they're from Bedford, and it's a good process, but we do run into that because, you've got some neighborhoods that have some elder people, and or we don't do it anymore. So it is costly, so Ms. Hirschberger.
So this program was started after the spraying stopped because the spraying was costing about $90,000 a year. So they stopped and started doing the dunks. We hear from lots of residents that it helps. Mr. Peroni is talking, there are some subdivisions that like to put them in the detention ponds. But right now, with the short amount we have, we're handing out 4. We could increase that if the board wants me to. I think not last year, but the year before, we were handing out 6 per person that came in. Everything goes through the clerk's department. They have to show their ID. We keep a log of it, and every 30 days they can come back and get more. So we are keeping track of who's getting it and how many they get and when. So it's a good record.
But we don't know what they're doing with them after they get them. They can be giving them other friends and families from other communities. And
They could be selling them on eBay.
they are relatively inexpensive at the hardware store. I mean, what are they? This equals out to what, 60 cents a piece, maybe something like that. I'm doing quick math in my head.
They're more expensive if you go buy them. Since we're buying in bulk, we're getting them very, very inexpensive. I think they're maybe $4 or $5 for 2 at the hardware. I'm not positive on that, but it's somewhere around that. So it's just a service we've offered. If the board wants to discontinue it, I'll give out what we have and we'll be done.
The thing is it's a limited thing for people, Joe. It's the people with ponds that get stagnant water. Really, when you think about it, how many people in this community have sitting stagnant water that gets the mosquito larvae on it? It's for people with property that have flooding issues. I owned a 20-acre parcel that 3 acres of it flooded, and it would sit for months until it finally dried out. Well, I'm sure from that, you're getting a large amount of mosquitoes that move. So the people that are utilizing them on these bigger parcels that do have the standing water, that are creating the real issue, I don't even know if they're using them, but the people with your ponds and stuff that do have the fountains and the water that moves, like in the DDA, we're probably not getting much mosquito larvae in the DDA. We don't even use them over there. But I'm not opposed to it. I mean, I think for the people that use them, that have the standing water, sure, it's effective. It kills the larvae. But I really don't know. When you look at the big picture, I'm not sure. I know there is issues with disease from mosquitoes. I mean, I know there was, a couple of years ago where you had, some issues there, but, a lot of people spray their yards. It's totally up to the board. Personally, I would much rather see us save the money and use it for mulch king other than to do this, but I think that would be a better service in my opinion, but I'm not opposed to it either.
I think there's.
Oh, Mr. Montrag, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I can't raise my hand. I don't know. I think there's a lot of different ways to think about this and how it affects, because overwhelmingly, it's not just affecting. It's not like, oh well, you're cutting out just your own mosquitoes. If you have more people in the entire township using them, then it's cutting it. It is cutting it across the entire township. So effectively, everyone is benefiting to a certain degree. But I agree as well. It's a lot of money, and I don't know. I don't think it's a cut and dry thing. I agree that I'm almost thinking if it's not something that we use what we have, and then we can look at it again at the beginning of next year and look at it in rediscuss it and look at it in February next year if we have enough to get ourselves through this year, or I don't know. But I'm kind of on the fence because I agree it's a lot of money, but it does benefit more than just the individual user, I would think, to a certain degree. So that's my thoughts.
Ms. Janizek?
Trudy, with the dunks, they last, a month? They say that one dunk lasts 30 days?
Correct.
And what is it, 100 square feet that it covers?
It's a 10 by 10.
By 10, okay.
10 foot by 10 foot area it covers, but you can break them up and sprinkle them through grass if you have standing water in a grassy area.
Okay. I was just making sure, because I thought at one point I read that they last 30 days, but I just wanted to verify.
That's why we don't hand them out, we keep their address so we know we're not giving them more than what we do for 30 days.
Right. Thank you.
What's the pleasure of the board? You guys want to table it and think about it? I think everybody's kind of on the fence with it. It wouldn't be a big deal to table it, guys, and really put some thought to it.
Well, the reason I brought it right now is because we have the money in the budget right now, this current budget to pay. I didn't want to bring it later because we did not budget anything in the next budget. We would have to, move the money from somewhere else to get it. So that's why I'm bringing it now.
Is there a way to take that money, Bob? Is Bob still on?
No, he's
Is there a
gone.
way, is there an area where we could take that money so it's in there for next year in case we wanted to use it for I don't know, community action, or I don't know, something we could take the 15 or whatever $1,000 it is, just 15 grand and stick it in somewhere so we have it for next year in case we want to use it for that?
I'm not sure. I would have to talk to him about
it. Okay. What's the pleasure?
We could order half the amount too, and then see what happens next year. Mm-hmm. I just know this is a popular thing. We get lots and lots of phone calls for these.
I had about 6 or 8 people come through the drive-through just today alone asking for them.
Yeah, we've already passed out quite a few.
Yeah, I agree with them. We do get a lot of inquiries about them. We do have, like I said, the subdivisions, they, some of these retention ponds that do have standing water, they use them in there. So.
I just know when I needed them, when I had standing water, I just went and bought them. I bought a couple of them from Do It Best, and
yeah, we are a general law council. We are not required to do.
That's kind of where I'm torn. That's kind of where I'm torn, Joe. Is I agree with, and that's my initial thinking is if you want them, go get them for yourself. But it is a thing that, well, what if however many percentage of those people aren't willing to spend the $5-6, they just say, screw it. Does that increase our overall amount of mosquito infestation in the township? Or, you know what I'm saying, where it does affect other across the board. It's not just like only what you're using. That's where I'm on the fence about it.
Hey, Craig or Joe, I don't even know, Phil, you can answer this maybe, but what about we purchase them and we sell them to the residents at our cost?
I don't think, I'm not really for that.
It's just a suggestion. I'm not saying it would work. I'm not saying it's a good idea. So if Joe, if you want to make a motion that we turn it down, let's get something or we table it. But I don't know if it's an area we could stick the money. I'm on the fence with it too. There are a lot of residents that use them. But
with that thought, it's making me think: have we ever looked at? And I'm in line with tabling it because of that thought process. That have we ever? What is the most effective way to limit mosquito infestation across the township? Is it willy-nilly, whoever wants to go pick up mosquito dunks, or would it be better served to have some sort of plan looking at large standing?
Craig, you've got parcels with acres of standing stagnant water for months that probably creates enough mosquitoes for this whole township. If those people aren't they would need boxes of dunks, and that would probably help out a lot, because when those mosquitoes hatch, the wind blows, they're all over. Those are the areas, right? You have to attack, but it's private property. We can't go around.
Is there a way to?
Yeah. You can knock on their door and ask them to throw it in there, but.
We have had people come in with acres of standing water, and what we tell them is you have to get the tablets to it. If there's no way to get the tablets to it, it's not going to be effective either. So you have that thought too, but detentions areas, you could throw them in there. I know the maintenance guys have put them in parks when we've had some standing water in parks to keep mosquitoes down. We've had a lot of residents swear by them, but again, it's up to the board.
Mr. Steiner?
Yeah, this goes back to some history, and I know Trudy, you've been around long enough as well. And back when we did have the mosquito spraying, after they did numerous studies, they said, yes, it helps initially, but we can't control what's coming in from the outside in the surrounding areas. So you can control maybe one spot in your local area, your piece of property, but as Paul just said, if somebody's got acres and maybe it's some farmland that gets that early rains and not planted and things like that, how many do you need? You need hundreds of them probably to be able to treat acres and acres of it. So, it's not like you can put it in one spot and it's going to take care of, put it on 1 acre, it's going to take care of 5. It just doesn't work that way. So it's a tough call on this one.
Well, I say personally, I say we table it, and then let Ms. Hershberger look into it.
I'd make a motion to table it for now, and have to. I don't know how we want to do it best to bring. We want to look at it again in fall, or if you want to look at it again in January, early February, or what? How you would want to do that? But I'd make the motion. Let's table it for now and look into it a little bit more.
I'll support.
Okay, motion in support of Mr. Gore. Any more discussion?
Question. Look into what? What are we going to look into?
I guess if there's a better way, because I'm almost thinking, the way I'm thinking about it is there a way for us to get to be more effective with the with the dunks? Or is there where you might be spending the same amount of money but being more effective, or spending a little bit less money and being more effective?
One way we could be more effective is in our newsletters, encourage residents with large amounts of standing water to come in and, really do a more of outreach on it. We don't advertise it, very heavily, I don't think, with the mosquito dunks, I know you might do it on the website. Is it the newsletter? Okay, so
it's the newsletter, it's on the website, it's on the TV. We have a lot of people come in. We had hundreds.
Then.
Yeah, and as far as cost effectiveness, this is the only thing we found that works besides a spray, and the spray didn't keep them at bay very long, especially when the other communities weren't. This kills the larva, this actually stops them. So I guess I just need to know, if we're tabling it, what's the reason? Otherwise, there's no reason to table it.
Surety for spray, I agree. You have to have somebody certified.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
well, even behind the school, behind the library, there's lots of standing water back there,
Yeah, our maintenance guys could take them and put them back there if we wanted them to.
Retention pond behind the township hall. But anyways, I kind of agree with Trudy. If we're just tabling it, just to kind of, I guess it sounds like we're tabling it so we can think about it. Maybe put it on the next agenda and make a decision. Right, Joe? Is that kind of where we're at?
Yeah, like I said, if I can only get 4 a month, I'm one of those. I don't have a lot of property, but 4 wouldn't even cover a fraction of what I would need in a 30-day period. I've just gone and bought them myself. It's $15,000. I think, Paul, I agree, we could put it someplace else and use it for other things. We can't solve every single problem in this township. It's not possible. So,
no, and just so you know, Joe, we're only doing 4 right now because we have a limited amount. We can give out however many we want if we order more. That would be up to the board also. Just with the limited amount, I didn't want to give out too many and then run out and some people not get any.
That's understandable.
Mr. Supervisor?
Yeah.
If you're going to table it, it might make sense, and somebody said to think about it, it might make sense, and maybe somebody's already done this, to contact Chris Westover at Environmental Health, the Health Department, and/or the Department of Agriculture to see what the effectiveness of these are, and see if it's cost effective for us to make the expenditure and purchase more, and then encourage residents to pick them up and give them maybe not an unlimited number, but give them a number commensurate with the acreage they have or something like that. It might make you feel better about continuing the program if you know scientifically that it makes sense and it's effective to do it. Just a thought.
Okay, Ms. Hirschberger?
I have all that literature already. We've already done that research if anybody wants it. And the effectiveness.
Joe, do you want to keep your motion as it stands, or do you want to change the motion?
Craig made the motion.
Craig made the motion.
Craig, would you like to keep the motion as it stands, or would you like to redact it and make a motion to approve or not approve?
I mean, I'm fine with keeping my motion. I'm fine with if nobody else was making a motion. So I was fine with making that and keeping that.
Okay.
Table it. I'm sorry, table it till when?
My motion was indefinite. I didn't make it until a certain time. If somebody wants a friendly amendment with that, I'm open to that. But I didn't put it.
Okay.
Can we have a friendly amendment then to maybe put it on the next agenda, just so we can get a yes or no? And
I'd accept that.
because I'm going to have lots of people calling and asking for them. So this will give people a chance to call in if they really want them and give their opinion.
Yeah. Well, we have enough now, I mean, to give him out, but he said he's good with the next meeting.
Okay.
So, who seconded it, Mr. Gore?
Yes.
Yeah, I second it.
You good with a friendly amendment for next meeting?
Yeah, I'm good with the friendly amendment. I was just reading up on the mosquito dunks, and I'm just reading quickly. They are 100% effective, but the manufacturer of mosquito dunks said the best time to use it's beginning of April and no later than May. So pretty much any time after now, who knows how effective they are. But
that's a big thing that's a big thing I've been thinking too, Joe, is that like when you're giving them out in June, you're just wasting money and wasting tax dollars because we didn't have a plan of effectiveness to how we're going to distribute or how we're going to use them. And like that's more my thought is, do we have a plan of effectiveness, or is it willy-nilly whoever shows up and decides, well, I think I have some water in my ditch and and I'm going to go put some dunks in it this June, and I'm allowed to have 4 of them, so I'm going to put it in. And then it's not. It isn't. If that's the case, then it should be. Go buy them at the hardware store yourself, and it's
I'll send
that's effective for everyone.
I'll send all the literature I have out to the board members. So you have everything that I have.
Okay. So something we could do next meeting is just say we only give them out those 2 months, and after that we don't. And if it says in the manufacturer that you can give them out in the fall again, then we give them out in the fall again. But if it only says they're effective those 2 months, I say we give them out those 2 months, and then after that, we're done.
Okay, I'll look at what I have from the manufacturer and get that out to everyone.
Okay, could you call the roll, please?
Mr. Montry?
Aye.
Mr. Gore?
Aye.
Ms. Janvisek?
Aye.
Mr. Steiner?
Aye.
Mr. Bruning?
Aye.
Hirschberger votes aye. Mr. Peroni?
Aye, and the motion passed 7-0. Item 8. F, accept the quote for landscaping at the Bedford Branch Library. Mr. Montry, did you want to take this one?
Yeah. So pretty straightforward. I don't know if everyone got Jody's email before the meeting. She had sent an email out like an hour or 2 ago, and kind of with an update on the situation, and which gave me a number I was a lot more comfortable with as far as the budgeting goes for the millage for the library and where that budget is and everything, that would put the Longnecker bid closer to 6,500, maybe even 6,000. And unless there was, I'd be willing to make a motion to accept that a bid from Longnecker in the amount not to exceed 6,500, unless there was any questions or concerns or anything like that.
Okay, any comments or questions for Mr. Montry? Okay. Anybody have any comments or questions, Mr. Steiner?
Yeah, Craig, the email that Jody sent out said that extra 500, they've already started moving that mulch. That number was $500 in that quote. And she said they've already got part of it done. So I think that 500 goes away, and probably that number could be $6,000.
Okay.
I'd be fine with that. I'd be fine with that too, and I'd be open to hearing anything Jody wanted to add as well. I'm sure was probably a follow up to the email. I'm sure she's trying to follow up to the email, make it just that everyone got that and is all on the same page. But yeah, I was more given the 6,500, just knowing where the budget's at and all that. It's there, and there's enough money left in that lineup to. I wouldn't be overly worried about that $500, but I'm more than fine with saying 6,000, unless we're otherwise overly worried about it. And yeah, I'd be fine with that as well.
Yeah. Why don't we let Jody in?
She's in. I mean, if she has anything to add, go ahead, Jody.
Well, I think thanks for letting me speak. I think going up to the 6,500 would be a great idea, because the one thing that you can't guarantee is, will they actually be able to get the number of each of the plants? You know, that when he gave me the price of 6,500, it was for X number of this, and this. And what if they can't get X number of that and they replace it with X number of this and it costs a little more money? So I kind of think going up to the 6,500 is a good idea, and that gives them just a little bit of leeway. I've had some great volunteer help, so just a shout out to both NJHS kids and NHS kids from Bedford schools. We put out a message to the leaders of that, and those kids have had a hard time finding volunteer service hours this year. So we had several of them over there with me on Sunday, and we've got several more lined up to come both tomorrow and Thursday to finish moving the old mulch. And we're using it in other areas on the property, which is doubly good, because first of all, it's still good quality stuff, and then it just needs to be freshened up. So that way we'll get double use out of it. So if you guys are okay with the up to 6,500, we had budgeted 10,000 for that, so we're still well below what we had asked for.
Ms. Hirschberger?
Question for Jody. The 6,000 or 6,500, does that include tax? Because I see there's tax on these other ones and we don't pay tax.
Oh, right. I think Nancy had told me that she would get them the tax ID number. If not, I can get that to Longnecker so they can take that tax off, because I forgot about that. She mentioned that to me when she first accepted the bids, and I forgot all about that. So, yeah, we need to do that yet.
So would the 6,000 be a good amount after they take off the tax?
That's probably true. I don't remember exactly how much the tax was. I don't have the paper in front of me.
500.
Well, there you go then.
70.
Well, that tax was on $8,000 though too.
Right.
So it'd probably be about $400.
So I think we're probably good. I mean, just like, when we do other kinds of bids, we talk about a possible 10% overrun. I think we're probably good at 65.
Okay. Mr. Montry made the motion. Do we have support?
I'll second.
Okay, motion in support of Mr. Steiner. Any more discussion? Seeing none, could you call the roll, please?
Mr. Montry?
Aye.
Mr. Steiner?
Aye.
Mr. Gore?
Aye.
Mr. Bruning?
Aye.
Ms. Jandisek?
Aye.
Hirschberger votes aye. Mr. Peroni.
Aye, and the motion passed 7-0. Thank you, Jody, for being on and for getting all those volunteers out there. We appreciate that.
Thank you. Appreciate it. All right. Good night.
Okay. Item 8G, approve the permit for the June 2021 fireworks display. Is anybody calling in from the park board, do you know?
I don't think so. This is just the permit that's needed for the fireworks, so all we have to do is approve it.
Questions, or I didn't know if Miss Jen wanted to talk about insurance or anything, or about. Okay.
You need to go, Paul.
Yeah, it is moved.
Maybe I'm able to answer some of the questions.
Oh, okay. Go ahead, Todd. You want to ask?
What questions?
Well,
Because
questions?
the fireworks are going to be Friday, June 25th. The backup date is going to be Saturday, the 26th. And the fireworks will go off at dusk, and it's going to be at Indian Creek because the school has bond work going on, so we can't use their stadium. So it's going to be over there by Indian Creek.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Anybody else have any questions? Okay, seeing none, I look for a motion.
I make a motion, we approve the permit for the 2021 fireworks.
Support.
Okay, motion in support of Ms. Januzak. Any more discussion? Okay, seeing none, could you call the roll, please?
Mr. Bruni,
Aye.
Ms. Janusar,
Aye.
Mr. Montroy,
Aye.
Mr. Gore,
Aye.
Mr. Steiner,
Aye.
Hirschberger votes aye. Mr. Peroni.
Aye, and the motion passed 7-0. Okay, number 9, comments from the public. Comments limited to 2 minutes, or anything you'd like to talk about. And while we're waiting for that, we'll get into board member comments. Mr. Montry?
Yeah. Only thing I have is say thank you. Appreciate all the well wishes for my son, Henry Montry. Got born the day of our last meeting, and we had some doctor's appointments and stuff today that had us spread a little thin. So I appreciate everyone's patience and leniency. And I'm still gonna say I hope we'll get back to the boardroom at the next meeting. That's all I got.
All right, go ahead with the public comment, George. Good evening. Go ahead and state your name and address and go ahead with your comment.
Josh Stump, 7178 Wilshire Drive. Quick question. How many of you campaigned on putting Tom Covert on the planning commission? All right. Didn't think so. Nobody did. We have obviously a seat that we still haven't filled. You guys said you wanted experience, diversity, first-time applicants, people from the packet. People have been brought up from all of those things that you guys wanted. We still haven't filled it. Mr. Covert is not the only person capable of doing a great job on planning. So at this point, we're just doing the community a disservice by not filling the position. So like I said, it's not like any of us campaigned with putting Mr. Covert on planning. So I really don't think this is the hill to die on. Is there anyone outside of Mr. Covert that you guys would vote for? If there are, throw some names out there, have a discussion. We got to move forward. It's been almost 6 months, 7 months, 6 months. Yeah, it's been 6 months. So, it's time to move forward. Time to put the egos aside, put everything aside, come together as a community, find a name, and move forward. That's all I have. Have a nice night.
All right, thank you for your comments. Have a great night. Okay, Mr. Gore?
Just want to say thanks, everybody, and have a great weekend. That's all.
Okay, Mr. Bruning?
No, everyone had a good weekend. Nothing new going on. I got graduation this Sunday, so I'll be handing out diplomas at the stadium.
Okay. All right, Mr. Steiner?
Yeah, my fellow board members, you say wishing everybody a good weekend. I didn't know we were that close yet. Anyway, just a couple things tonight. I really hope that the next meeting we can start meeting back in the boardroom. The new governor's orders are 50% capacity. I think we'd probably be safe at the next meeting to do that. couple things that I'm going to just ask Trudy if you could check with Mr. Miller. I haven't had a chance to talk to him. See if we've gotten any further on the American Recovery Act COVID funds. See if we can get something in the near future on the agenda so we can discuss that. Mulch King, on Friday the 28th, I left Mr. Nitz a voicemail and mentioned to him that I was hoping that he had all of his ducks in a row for the Board of Zoning Appeals, which is to take place next Monday. I did not hear back from him, so I'm assuming that we're proceeding as planned and as advised for him to get the right things to go back to the Board of Zoning Appeals. Other than that, Planning Commission, Mr. Strick. I talked to Mr. Strick. I understand that I was probably the only one that talked to him about this appointment. He didn't even know he was on tonight's agenda. The man is very qualified, a lot of years of background, may not be direct in planning, but the guy's got a lot of planning and engineering and millwright type background. He comes from a background in automotive just like I do, and the procedures and policies and enforcement that has to go behind automotive and being able to follow things to the guidelines and things to the T. I think that Mr. Strick would have made a good appointment. So that's all I have this evening.
I would have loved you for you to said that before we had a vote. Maybe you'd have changed some minds. Okay, Ms. Janizak?
I have nothing. Just have a good evening.
Okay, Ms. Erzberger?
I've just a couple things. First off, I had the honor of attending the Memorial Day service. It was held by the VFW Post 9656. My husband, Todd Hirschberger, represented American Legion Post 192 and played taps. Not only did they hold a service at the Lambertville Cemetery, but they went to a few different senior living facilities and had a brief service for each one of those. It was very touching, and it really made you stop and remember all the men and women who did give their all for our freedoms. The newsletter will be going out June 8th. Again, we do have mosquito dunks in the clerk's department. Please just bring your ID and stop in there. We have 2 vehicles for sale. They're on our website right now that you can bid on. Monroe County Conservation District, located at 1137 West Telegraph Road, will be conducting portable well water screening at no cost. That'll be held this June 9th and 10th from 9 to 4 p.m. For more information, you can go to our website, and we have that there. And that's all I have.
Okay. Okay, so the board has budgeted a community cleanup, so we plan to do that in the fall this year. We're looking at August. I'll get an exact date next meeting, but it will be in the fall, so people can plan on that. The American Rescue Act, I agree. All board members need to get involved in this on what would be good ideas, bad ideas. There's things we could do with parks. Looks like you could take money to put it into the grants and loans. There's a lot that can be done, but there are a lot of limitations. I'm doing a lot of research myself. I know Bob and Nikki Knapp in the clerk's department or treasurer's department's doing some stuff with it as well. But I'm working with the county on what projects would be beneficial for Bedford Township. So I think as much as information you can get and get involved with it, I think we need to, my opinion, form a subcommittee from this board of board members, maybe with Nikki Knapp and Bob Miller. So we're involved with it. Hold town hall meetings. I think we do need to, on a lower key level like that, invite the public to town hall meetings. We could have them at a park if we're worried about capacity, and just get opinions from the public when we know kind of the direction we can go with it. But it's a big deal. It's a lot of money, and it could be life changing for the community, especially our parks. If we're allowed to use a lot of the money in the park boards. I know cable is something we can look at. Not sure if the funds is there for cable, but it's definitely something to look at. Tony from assessing is coming in on Wednesday, and he'll be working with Pete and Teresa using the new iPad and software Pivot Point. Using Pivot Point allows data entry out in the field, so that'll streamline that process in that department. So I'm glad the board approved that. It's definitely going to make things run smoother and get more work done. Jackman and Smith is being cleaned up. The maintenance department's going out there to cut all the grass and stuff, and I'm going to start looking into a couple options to get some dirt dumped out there. Maybe have the maintenance guys push it around and we could throw some seed on it, throughout the summer, get it cleaned up a little bit. Bedford Community Foundation golf outing is next Friday. Great organization. Anybody like to get involved or golf in it? And I'm glad we could help out our seniors and work with them for distributing the $12,500 that'll go to great use. I know the Meals on Wheels and all the services they provide is very beneficial for the community. So I did have a meeting this morning for a couple hours with the chair for the planning board, Pat and Jody, and the planning department and myself. There's a group called the County Streamlining Committee of a group of individuals throughout the county that are trying to work with different communities Bedford on how they can help us streamline our processes and some of the things that get in the way. And we had a great meeting. I know Jody took a lot away from it today and plans to utilize some of the stuff we talked about today in the planning department. And so other than that, if we have no further questions, I look for motions to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay. Motion I support. Any
Support.
questions? Okay. We stand adjourned.
Have a good night, everybody.